Hello, and welcome to the official Home Button Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Klink. Joining me this week is Nate.
Hello.
And Jean-Luc.
I think we're on number 6, 7? 6, 7. I don't know.
Episode 6/7. I think 7. No, yeah, 7.
Pretty sure 7.
I'm probably wrong.
Probably 7. And Emilio.
Hey! I'm playing Vita.
Alright.
Are you playing Helldivers?
Thanks for your undivided attention.
I'm actually playing Ollie Ollie too. It's really easy to do other things while I'm playing Ollie Ollie.
I suck at Ollie Ollie. I'm terrible at it.
Alright, so this week is pretty special. Not only because we missed last week because we were all busy. I was flying to, actually Tuesday when we usually record it, I was mid-air for most of probably the time when this happened usually. Yeah. And I was going to GDC, and everybody else was kind of getting ready to go to PAX. So this is our special PAX GDC podcast episode.
Post-convention podcast.
That's a good name for it. The post-convention podcast, where we're going to talk about what we did and kind of the experience of being there, but also maybe some bigger themes about the conventions, or anything we noticed about it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I saw a lot of this, or there was a lot of hype for this game. You know, stuff like that.
Guys, I have an idea.
Yes.
What if we start a video series where we go to conventions, all the conventions, and we rate them?
We rate them on
We rate them.
Scale from 1 to 10.
Yeah. So we're like,
Let's not do that.
Dragon Con, okay. This random convention in Tampa, because it's Tampa.
Because it's in Tampa.
I'm sure we won't run out of money.
No, yeah, we can sustain ourselves on that. And no one could be upset or be like,
We just rent a van.
I love Otaku Con.
Is there an actual con called Otaku Con?
I think so. I think
There's gotta be.
It could be the best convention ever, and I wouldn't go because it's in Tampa.
Yeah, exactly.
They gave everyone free everything.
There is Otakon.
PlayStation 4s.
There is Otaku Con. Yes.
Of course.
Good.
Yes. In Washington.
Washington, D.C. or the state?
No, Washington State.
Okay. That's a long
Spookin'
ways.
Falls.
Spookin' Falls?
It's a community college.
That's pretty good. It's literally called Spookin', like spooky, like S-P-O-O-K.
Spokane. Spookin' Falls.
Wait, is there
Anyway.
only one O in the middle, or are there two?
There's one. Only one.
Well, then maybe it's Spoken Falls.
Spoken Falls. That doesn't sound as
Spoken Falls.
Spooky Falls.
Spooky
Falls.
Sure, it's Spooky
the
Falls.
neighbor town to Gravity Falls.
Otaku Cons.
Welcome to the pronunciation cast.
Welcome
Alright,
to
GDC and PAX.
Let's talk about
PAX are things.
Matt, I know
oh my-
I know only like random. I watched your Snapchat story where you walked through Japantown. That has nothing to do with GDC. So tell me about GDC.
That has nothing to do with GDC. I did snap a fair amount. I snapped a lot after GDC ended because while GDC was happening, I wasn't like, I'm gonna snap every single thing from. I wasn't thinking to be like.
How was the Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi was actually really good.
Yeah.
As long as you were in like the center, like the Wi-Fi was
damn it.
excellent actually.
The PAX Wi-Fi made me want to break my phone.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the
Like
worst.
Mail Shep was like, "Oh man, make sure to snap me all the stuff at PAX." And I
Can't.
couldn't because the Wi-Fi was so shit. I couldn't snap anything.
And
You know
just
what?
like regular like LTE or whatever. Just didn't work.
Services.
Nothing
Yeah, it's
worked.
a huge building,
shitty.
and there's not great service in that area. But
Oh,
yeah,
it was
the Wi-Fi
nightmarish.
of GDC was actually, unless like there were some rooms that were at the very edges of the building that didn't really get good Wi-Fi, but there was always service. Like there was good service everywhere. So yeah, GDC was pretty great.
It was fun to use my phone again as a
Yeah.
phone.
As a
So,
device
Matt,
that had
tell
a
me
signal.
what you did, who you saw, who you talked to, what panels
Oh
you went to.
man, I talked to everybody. I went to all the, not really. I talked to some people. So I think I just want to quickly talk about the there's always like a thing of the show that either like a game or like or like a big thing that seemed like there was a lot of focus on.
Well,
And-
before you do that, hold on.
Yes.
You went to GDC to kind of promote yourself as a 3D
Yes.
environment artist, right?
Yes, I guess I should clarify that. Sure. So yeah, I went with a bunch of other people from our school to, I mean, learn stuff, but also, what's the word for socializing? That's more job purposed.
Networking?
Networking,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Where it's like I'm either connecting some
Business.
cables to get internet, or
Schmoozing.
I'm handing out or I'm
Oh,
handing
I
out
hate the word
business cards.
schmoozing. It sounds so like lame and awful.
I'm gonna
So,
go
yeah,
schmooze
that-
with some
that-
business
that was-
execs.
So that's
Oh.
kind of what the purpose
Right.
of your visit to GDC.
Yeah, so I wasn't there. Some developers go purely, I mean, they will want to see, they want to see people who they were, colleagues with or friends with or whatever that they don't get to see except at GDC, and also to learn, new technology. Not necessarily learn new technologies, but see the ways different developers are doing things. It's kind of, a lot of the talks are like, we all know how to do this stuff, but all studios have a lot of different ways to do little things. There's not like, there are a lot of common threads, but a lot of studios will do very different things that improve their workflow, or they did this with a different engine, and there's a lot of talks around that. But there's also kind of bigger talks about the industry as a whole. There was a big talk called "Number One Reason to Be." That was a lot of what that
I
was.
heard a lot about that online.
Yeah, that was a lot about the women in game. That was, a bigger talk, right? About the industry as a whole. What can we do? Stuff like that. But so yeah, that was my reason for going. Was mainly I got a lot of networking done, and I got to go to a good few talks that were like really that workflow talks for environment artists that were really cool. Yeah, but a lot of networking and a lot of stuff specialized towards environment art were my.
So you
main
made some
focuses.
connections.
You got a
Yes.
job, right?
Yeah, immediately I walked in and I gave my guy this card, and he's like, "Here's
Hired.
some money. Here's some money." Yes. I was like, "Well, all right."
He's like, here's a shirt and a name tag. You're gonna go work our booth now.
He's
You're
like,
hired.
You understand the company culture, and you've been here for a whole 10 seconds. So the big theme, like VR was everywhere.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah. That dominated GDC.
It was pretty crazy. I tried like two different things of VR. There was a big Oculus booth that was showing this one smog demo where like you're in this big like. Did you guys see the second Hobbit movie?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, the
where
sec-
he's in the mountain.
Yeah, he's on the mountain and then he goes into the cave or whatever, the big like where the dragon is, right?
Yes.
Yes. So he gets in there and then the dragon's all like, "I'm a fucking dragon." He's trying to kill him. So basically there was like that demo. in
I
the
really
Oculus.
enjoy your Smaug impression.
Fire.
You do a really good Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes. Was he Smog?
Yeah.
He was Smaug.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what. I thought the dragon was more attractive than him, so worked for me.
Hear that, Benedict Cumberbatch? You just got burned.
How do people think that dude?
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch isn't going to hear that.
I know.
Thank you, man.
This will never come back to him. But like, I've seen a lot of posters like, let's check out how good looking Benedict Cumberbatch is, and I'm like, this is not related.
So like it was
Video
this,
games.
it was this virtual reality Smaug
Demo of that.
like cavern with all the
Yes.
gold and stuff.
And it was pretty crazy. That was a pretty
You were
good one.
there.
It is nuts. Like scale just feels so different in VR. Things
Mhm.
actually feel big because you actually have to look up and it's like above you. You know.
That's what I'm talking about though. Like
Yeah.
like it back in whenever we had the live stream and we played
Yeah.
Alien Isolation. I shit my pants when the alien was
Right.
like right in front of me because it was
Yeah.
9 feet tall. It
Yeah.
was there. I was there.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And that's the kind of experience you get when you fuck around with VR.
Yeah.
Like you're
It
not
feels
looking
like
at
you're-
a
picture of
television
it.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like later in the podcast, I'll talk about what my experience with VR was at PAX.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll
continue
talk about
about-
that.
So
Continue. Yeah.
there's also this other. So that was really cool, but there's also this other demo that they had me do. So also, I didn't wait in the gigantic Oculus line. There was this NVIDIA booth that was like, we have these new graphics cards. Also, it's an Oculus demo that's just running on the graphics cards that we're showing off. So like, it was like a 10-person line as opposed to like a 50-person line.
Mhm.
So then the other demo
Only 50 people?
all right, it was probably like 100 people, but it was a fucking huge line.
That's still fucking compared to PAX.
Oh yeah,
We'll tell
there's
you
not-
about the horror that is the Oculus line.
So
Oh my god.
the other demo was like you're on the street and there's like this firefight with this giant robot like shooting at dudes, and like that was so fucking cool. Like they were like the smog demo's the coolest one, right? And I was like, no way, the other one was way better.
I actually heard a lot of good things about the Morpheus demo at GDC. What was it called? Like something London Underground or something?
I literally
I don't know. I heard a lot of good things about that.
I just
but
haven't
I
read
still
about
have-
it yet.
I have a lot of reservations about Morpheus, but that's another talk for another day.
So what was it? Oh yeah, so the big street demo with like this firefight going on. There's like these soldiers that are in like like Master Chiefy like armor, right? They're like huge, like crazy body armor things, like shooting guns at this big robot dude, and then there's like this car that flips over and whatnot. And it's crazy because you can like walk around like in this little square and like get a look at stuff, and like being able to move around like these dudes that are like and like get physically like it felt like you were like getting close to this dude and like look at like the different parts of him, and then this giant car, not giant, this car like is flipping over, and the guy's like, if you duck, you'll like go, like you'll feel like you're going under it and stuff. And so then like I would like ducked, and then like you could like look under the car as it was flipping over you and like see the people in the car, and it was crazy. And then like you get up close to the giant robot, and like it's huge, and it feels like it's actually like the whole 3D perspective of physically being able to move around objects and get close to them and look at them like not just in a video game up close, but feel like you're actually getting close to a real thing is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought about how they're gonna because like in these demos, like it lets you like get pretty much almost touching everything, but you can't. So I'm wondering like in video games how they're gonna bounding boxes all around all the things around like.
So you had an Oculus on, but you were in a like I guess sort of a small room that you could move around in.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Like.
Yeah, and
What, like, how many people's setup, like, consumer is that actually going to tailor to? Like, how many people will actually be able to do that? I mean, it's a cool, like, tech demo, but, like, in reality, like, how is that going to be?
How many people are gonna?
It's the same thing like when Kinect came out,
Yeah. I think, and I feel like the audience is probably the same, like anyone who's like, well, not, like, they were looking for casuals with Kinect, but, like, if you had, like, Oculus in your living room, like, it would have to be something you set up for that experience, right? Like, no one's home setup is germane to I have a super powerful computer in my living room that I can walk in a big space that I can walk around in and, like, look at all this junk, right?
Just last week, I bought a house specifically for Oculus demos.
Perfect.
Tailor made.
This is my Oculus room next to my Rock Band room. My Rock Band room.
Yeah.
Was it by any chance a Facebook house?
It's actually that house that Notch bought.
It's the home. It's the home.
That
Mine's
is
the giant
literally
M&M
the
line.
coolest fucking house ever.
It's my button home.
I bet he has a Rock Band room.
So other than that, the NVIDIA was doing the Oculus demo pretty much at the NVIDIA booth, but then also who else? So Sony was there with the Morpheus, and whatever. There was the the Vive, the
Vive, of course.
Right. So Valve's thing was there, but those are only by appointment for like press. And they're like, yeah, these are like only appointments for press.
So,
even though like a lot of the times when I walked by, it was empty. I was like, come on.
Did you get like the general impressions from it? I mean,
people seem to say it is like sharper, so, like it was even sharper than the current Oculus that people have tried, and the movement is like crazy accurate. Like there's like not even like I didn't sense any like noticeable lag, but you know what I mean. You could feel, and people who's tried that one said like it's set up where there's like these two base stations, and like there's just lasers that emit from the fucking thing, and like it can tell when you're gonna bump into something, and like it will like warn you. So like that one's like a lot of movement, a lot of walking around with that unit.
So, from what I've read about GDC, it seemed like the Vive kind of stole the show. Did you get that kind of vibe?
Oh
GDC?
man,
Snaps.
Let's never say that again, I guess.
Whatever.
There was a lot of talk about it. Here's the thing: is like I was talking to the other students who were there, and like a few other things, and like generally when we're talking to those people, we're talking about like ourselves or their company. But like we did talk to one guy who was like, who that we didn't really like, weren't really like just discussing us or their company. And he talked to us about VR. I think his name John Jones. This guy does a few different podcasts that are game making related. And he was talking about different VR things with us. Some of them adult related, because like he was like, I've been contacted by like the porn industry for 3D.
Really?
Oh, no.
Yeah, like people.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that's. I mean, it's already. Oh yeah, and like it's already a thing that you can go and like rent VR porn for your Oculus or whatever, but like not many people are doing that.
Not only can you see porn on your Oculus, but you can rent it.
I mean, I guess you could probably buy it, but like whatever, like you can pay for this suite for this suite.
Blockbuster all over again.
Yeah, really weird. But so we were talking to him, and it was a big thing at the show. But like the thing is, like the people that got to try it were mostly the press because they want to get the word out there, and like some developers. So like not even a lot of like people actually got to go and test it. It was just everyone was just kind of was like, oh yeah, and Valve just announced their VR that has like lasers and shit, and that's pretty crazy. So I guess Valve is doing that. So like it wasn't like. So like there, I don't know say like buzz, but there wasn't like, I don't know if I would call it buzz, but maybe you could, where it's just like, yeah, like people were talking about it, but it wasn't like you gotta go try this, or like, because like not many people got to try it. It was like like.
I mean, for me, it's more the crazy concept that like Oculus has been like, hey, we're trying to get Oculus, we're trying to get like we're working on it, we're taking our time, and it sounds like they're. For a while now, there's been rumors that they're gonna have it out this year, but there's never been. They still don't have an official confirmation, and Valve just totally came out of nowhere. Well, we knew Valve was messing with VR,
Right.
Well, they
kind
had
of came out, sort of swept them under the rug and said, "Here's our thing. Here's consumer specs is coming out this year," and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" Like that. They totally like stole all of Oculus's thunder in a lot of way.
Like the ball is totally in Oculus's court right now. Like they have to step up now. Like Valve just like, boom.
Not only them, but I'm pretty sure like Morpheus last year was talked about as like this might like at last GDC it was like this might become a consumer thing, but right now it's still like heavy production in this year, and now it is like it has a date. I'm pretty sure. I think it's like sometime in 2016 or something.
Well, at least Morpheus has the opportunity to stand on its own, because it would potentially. As I presume it would be for.
Oh, it's for the
console.
PS4.
Yeah, it'd be for the PS4. So in that way, it would be less challenged. Like the Oculus and the Valve one is they're trying to fight for the same space.
Yeah, and like not only that, it's coming. This is turning into. We should get off VR in a minute, because we're just going to talk about VR, but also.
I'm fine with talking about VR, but it's about the conventions.
Right. But whatever is it? The Morpheus is also like what you were saying about it being on console, but also like the only thing like Microsoft is working on the HoloLens, but
that's AR.
Like it's AR, and it's a lot of VR now is also getting blended into AR, right? Where like you're moving around and stuff like that. But like it's also seriously still in heavy construction. Like when people talk about when their demos, it's like. Oh yeah, I tried it, and I had a computer. They literally had a computer on their chest strapped to them to use it. So like, yes, it is like way not like ready yet. Like it is, yeah. You have to in its current form. it is literally you like they strapped a small computer to this dude and like had like 20 different wires into the thing. So like it's very and like they showed this super pretty version of just those dudes like wearing glasses on stage or whatever, but that's like either they have 3 of them and the like or you know what I mean, like either they have 3 of them that they showed on stage or that demo that they showed on stage at that Microsoft thing was just like not real, which is like a fair possibility. Because like people who got to try it at the Microsoft event were like, yeah, they took me into a room and they strapped a literal computer to my chest and put this gigantic thing on my head, like that like was like a contraption. But I assume that they are going to aim for like eventually just glasses with a fucking USB, right? But in its current state, it's like very, very, very work in progress. Anyway, VR. Sony. Anyway, I want the roundabout of that was like Sony is very close to releasing what could be a very cheap, like it could be one of the cheaper ways to get into VR because to use like Oculus or any of these other things right now, you need a really, really good computer, and a PS4 is the price of a graphics card, or like a really good graphics card, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, a fairly high-end graphics card is.
Yeah, but that's what people would need, you know, for the.
Mm-hmm. And the whole thing about Morpheus is that it takes all the work out of VR. It's literally what they're going for is plug this into the PS4.
Plug and play, right?
Yeah. With Oculus and Vive, you have to fuck with a ton of settings and have a high-end PC that can run stuff at an acceptable frame rate, so it's not nauseous when playing something.
Right, and with Sony, it's they know their console, so they know like their restrictions are set, so developers know what to work to if they want to make that game or whatever. Anyway, other than VR, there was also, I don't know if there was another theme of the at least the last 2 days after the number one reason talk and some other talks that Rami gave. Rami gave this really good talk about God, I think Arabic. I'm pretty sure about like no one like 2 games in the past like many years that have come out that aren't like games from the Middle East or like that region.
Yeah, they have game developers there, but it's pretty small.
Yeah, but like most games don't have any translation for those languages. Like, so if you bought a game and like tried to play it in those countries, there wouldn't be subtitles because like they haven't translated most games. He's like, here's a list of games that are currently translated into Arabic. 2. I found 2 games, so he gave a talk about just like companies should maybe consider that there are other territories that they're not getting into because they just haven't hired someone to translate to these languages, and how it's not that crazy hard. Like he gave a 15-minute lesson on Arabic and was like, see, it's not that far. And like he was like, and now I've taught you all how to say this sentence. It's not that like. And they're professionals. There are people who translate. So like, but so.
There's a lot of studios like if you're familiar with the studio B4, their job they're in Japan, but their job is that they sort of translate a lot of Japanese games and bring them to an American market, or the other way around. Actually, they recently said they were doing translation for American games to Japanese because apparently translation from American to Japanese is like god awful. Like it's like they said it was kind of like it was in the 90s when we got like Japanese games, like the translation's just terrible. I think I think that would be cool if we had a company, like a little small company, that could, kind of pop up, and their task would be to help these game companies in like the Middle East or other countries that are really small that, don't have the ability to get their games, translated, can help these games out, because I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So bringing that up, I was kind of saying that like there was also a feeling of like more. Like we should let's look at the industry in a bigger view. Like what are like things that we're not doing well. Like that was kind of a feeling going around too. Not just what I mean, like a lot of technical stuff, but also like we're doing women in games still super bad. Like we're just we're
getting better. We're getting a little bit better.
Right, things are getting better, but it's like
how to make the basically industry a more inclusive place.
Yes, yeah, a large.
Did
pretty
you
big
go to
push for this.
the Ashley Birch panel?
So I didn't.
Oh, I heard that was really good. Did you see their
The video, yeah.
their video? Yeah, okay. But she had a panel apparently with I forget who else, but apparently it was really good. And it was about like women in gaming.
Yeah, I didn't. There was literally a talk that was something like that was like something I wanted to learn for future use of projects, and I was like, I'll be able to see this. Like,
that's fair.
And like I wanted to go, but like I was like I kind of need to like I wanted to like learn this thing. It was the talk I went to was this thing about texturing techniques.
Fascinating.
And, so let me tell you, it was called the ultimate trim. And it's about having a texture sheet that you can apply to like trim pieces all over your open world game. But they use it for Sunset Overdrive. This like it's a common thing to have a trim texture sheet, but the way they used it was that so like you had small trims and then like all the way scaled up to like big trims, and you could like use that to apply to like any object's trim area.
Are you talking about mega textures?
No. Not at all. Just like a regular texture that has like many different trims.
Doom joke.
Okay. But there are like things called like mega scans that are like a real thing in the industry now that a lot of
I don't know if her panel got recorded. I know that GDC has a whole thing where you can like like buy their talks but you can't like getting them like free access to them.
She did
put up her entire slideshow online.
Yeah,
you can
and I have a friend who is in the vaults, so I can witness that.
Yeah, I'm looking at her slideshow. It's pretty good.
The all access pass.
So Matt, what are your closing words on GDC?
Oh man, a lot.
Wait, you went to a talk with Brad Meir, right?
I did go to a talk to Brad.
Did you meet Brad Meir?
I like met him like the way that the rest of the audience like. I have like followed him and like he's a cool dude, but and like I was like I'm a fan of your stuff.
I mean I know Brad Meir through Giant Bomb. He's a good friend with those guys, and just that dude like he's like the reason I want to work at like Double Fine.
Yeah, he seems
so nice and like a great person to work with.
He's a very positive human being. His talk was really cool. It was talking about the systems that they used in Massive Chalice that actually made me want to play the game. And he was like, it's weird, like not a lot of people have heard of Massive Chalice, but it's made by Double Fine. They're a pretty well-known company, but like a lot of people haven't heard of like this game apparently.
It had a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So and it's still not out yet, so they're not pushing it marketing-wise right now. But
I'm pretty sure you can. I think he said he's like I think it just came to like everyone. Like you can get in on it now on Steam.
You can, yeah. But it's still pretty. They're not pushing it yet, and the only reason I'm really aware of it is because again I follow him,
right,
and I'm familiar with his stuff. But
yeah,
that game's cool. You should check that game out.
Yeah, check out. That was a cool talk. He talked about the design systems and like they have a lot of stuff with the progress of like human life, I guess. Like you get with another person and you have kids and then they continue your bloodline and you keep doing that so you can like fight these wars. They're like your warriors. Like your children eventually become your rulers and those rulers become your fighters and then you match more people up, and he explained the systems of design stuff of how they worked with that, because there's a lot you could get, like there's a lot of different things, like do we want infant mortality like in the game, or is that like too morbid to be like also this % of babies die like in the number generation, like this %, and they were like that's a little too dark, we didn't involve that in the game. But so just like how do you deal with like natural systems of order and like design it down so it's not ridiculous, you know? That was a cool talk about that. GDC.
Real quick question about GDC. I always kind of viewed it as this like one of the last few like genuine conventions where it's pretty much like all about like the developers talking to and about developers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a conference.
Like, sure, yeah.
Yes.
And I feel like what happened this year with the whole Valve announcing Vive and like you said yourself, only the press were like really demoing the Vive. It kind of like it almost tainted my view of GDC a little bit, where
GDC's
it's
actually
become
been like that for longer
like
than you think.
So, I see what you're saying. Like it's not just a thing to talk shop anymore. Here's the thing. That's like that stuff is like for the press and like what gets pushed out to consumers, because like as like and Giant Bomb kind of talked about this. They're like, is that really for us? Is that like really what we? The thing is, like 95% of it is still like these talks that are like heavy into a subject, right? Like the other talks I went to were how to do dynamic lighting and world building for open worlds and stuff, and like texturing and stuff for like open world games that like if you don't make video games and you went to like like if you went to the trim texture talk or like this environment talk I went to, or the one that was about there's this one talk about creating LODs with this program and like how it does like these different things in Maya and whatever. Like
Matt.
yes.
Whoosh.
What?
Way over my head.
Yeah. So like
it's exactly what you're talking about.
They are still a lot of talks. Most of them are still that stuff. But what gets pushed out to people is like the thing is all the press stuff is like while it's not like super for the developers, like it's just to kind of get the word out there to the masses, and like I'm sure some developers got to go try the Vive, but you know what I mean. But like that stuff that gets out is still not like most of like I was looking over like different websites coverage of GDC of like announcements of things, and that's like not even what a lot of like those things I was like, oh, I didn't even know that happened, because like people are talking, you know what I mean, like actually being there, everyone's like talking shop, and then like certain things are announced that you're like, oh, UE4 is free and now Unity's free, so that's like a big thing everyone hears about. But then like
it's not like somebody stood up like on a stage in the middle of the show and they're like, UE4 is free.
Yeah.
Like it's like it just kind of like you heard it through the convention. Like last year when I was at PAX, I had no idea that Civilization Beyond Earth got announced until some guy walked up to me. He's like, "Oh, Civilization Beyond Earth got announced today." I'm like, "Oh, I had no idea." Like, and it got announced at PAX. Like, it's just you're at the show looking at stuff. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, that was
you're in this bubble.
Right, and in the show even, it's not like most of it didn't become the stuff that was like, let us just show you this thing. Most of it, I'd say, 95% of it, the talks and stuff are very developer focused. It's just, anything that gets out is that kind of forward, is kind of, you know what I mean, the press face of it, right? Because like if someone writes a talk, like the one UE4 talk I went to, they did talk about, but it was because they also had this crazy cool video to show this open world, but like it wasn't the talk, it was this video that people understand. So like anything that kind of gets out is like the conference still felt super like let's discuss things and whatever, right? And talk about different stuff that we can use. But all the external stuff that kind of not like gets out, like not like leaks or whatever, right? When I say gets out, I feel like the things that people are reporting on are there, but it's like not. And it's not like they're not the you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like the focus still feels developer faced. Like when you're there, it's just like all the stuff outside, all the stuff you see outside of it is that, right? It's like, oh, and this happened.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes more sense. So,
yeah, like
what did you wanted to say about like just GDC then?
It's cool. if I mean, like, anyone who wants to get into development or is the developer, like, going there is really cool because you can talk about super weird niche things, like the Ultimate Trim. Like, the Ultimate Trim guy was my favorite talk, and it is by far, to a normal person, the most boring thing ever. It's like, it's a picture with a bunch of, like, wood or brick slabs on it, and it's like, yeah, but... like,
well, that's like the same thing for me. Like when I went to PAX, I go to panels like where the Giant Bomb guys talk about video production, and they're talking about video signals and like putting cables into boxes. And if you were someone who had no interest in video production, you'd be like, I don't know or care what they're talking about.
The people that saw their names and were like, oh, I like them. They're on Giant Bomb. They're funny. I'm gonna go to this panel, and they're
but they don't know anything about video production.
No, it was nothing like that.
Yeah.
So I guess that'll segue us into kind of our PAX talk now that we're
Shut
Well,
up, man.
and
We're talking
that
about
was like
PAX now.
I do have one final.
since we already started talking about that one talk, the best part of that was sitting and just like sitting next to Jean-Luc and going, like looking at each other and going like, we have that same fucking issue all the time.
Yeah.
as
Oh
these
yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Every time they brought up like these issues, I'm like, I know what they're talking about. I've had these issues before.
Like it was great. It was, and that's I mean like I met a few people there that were like really important to my possible future, in that industry. So
Same.
that was really interesting. So
Yeah. Okay. Matt, you said you wanted to say just one more thing.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. But so yeah, those kind of and I've been to PAX like twice before, and like there were like those panels that are like, oh, this is like applicable to me, and like that giant bomb one sounds like the most like that. That's the thing. Like the GDC is still super focused on like all of that stuff, and like that stuff was awesome. But like what's even more awesome is like literally everyone, like when you go to those talks, and like everyone at those talks supposedly for the giant bomb thing are into like video production, but like that was like every talk at GDC after it's done, like you could just go up to anybody and like start discussing this super niche thing, right? And that was like a really cool thing, like being around people that were all not like just in the know about video games, but in the know about like making this one very specific particular part, right? And that's like the coolest thing to just go up to people and it's like, oh, you also are a weird savant at this.
And that's the draw of GDC, you think?
Yeah, like it's not just like going to PAX is like, oh, we're all gamers and this is all great, and like GDC is like the same thing but for an even smaller.
We all make games.
We all make games, and then like in the talks that are it's like, oh, we all just do this. Stupid animators don't get it. Like
you're like.
So to put a to put a bow on a GDC, I just have one question for you, Matt.
Sure.
Do you said that it's like for developers by developers?
Yeah.
But what about someone like me who wants to be a producer? Do you think it's applicable for that?
There were producers there, and I think there were business talks. So like there is definitely a place for you. It's also like they're like, I guess I didn't go to any of those. But they're right, yeah. So but there are the talks about like not just fun, but like the business of video games and how different advertising and like how do you work with groups and what I mean, like production talks, right, where they discuss team dynamics and things like that, right?
All right, cool.
Yeah,
so I'll see if I'll look into it for next year.
You should definitely go.
I'd love to go.
Also,
to
and for just people who live out here, it's just a cool. Like I've never been to San Francisco. It's just a cool place to go. It's just a really cool thing.
Nice,
it was not
nice.
the horrible snowy hellscape that was Boston.
No, it was beautiful and 60 degrees.
Boston was not that bad, to be honest.
No, it really wasn't. It was
coming back and
let me tell you. Let me tell you about the day I was in. Let me tell you about the day.
No, thanks. I didn't want to say anything.
I was in t-shirt and shorts and
eating
some sushi-ritos outside in a beautiful park, just like chilling.
Shut up.
Just,
you didn't even Snapchat me.
Shut up.
I didn't even get a picture, so piss off.
I have a.
I asked for it.
I can send it to you. Tell me about PAX. Because I was a GDC. All about it.
Okay, where to start? So, if you're watching this, that means our PAX video has gone up yesterday, by the time this is up. So you should definitely go check that out. So I feel a little bit okay talking about some of our stuff that doesn't overlap with that.
I think we can talk about our first big thing is that we're officially members of the Indie Press now.
Yes, official members of the Indie Press. That was really fun. People liked that. I thought people were gonna be like more, like, oh, look at you fucking guys, you wrote Indie Press on your badge. But people seemed like really, I don't know, people thought it was funny. So
it's all about the indies. So
all about the indies.
The Indie Press.
So
John,
let's start with the
tell Matt what we kind of what we as the home button did.
Okay. I'm gonna save the big one for later because we're gonna talk about that one, the one we all talked about.
Okay.
We all played.
Okay.
I'll start with one I played that I know Matt will be interested in, which is Necropolis.
I played that
too.
too.
Anything? Nate also played it. Matt, do you know anything about
I
Acropolis?
feel like I heard about it.
It just
but
got announced like a week ago.
I definitely heard of it.
So it's being made by Harebrained Schemes, which are the people who made Shadowrun Returns.
I bet Matt's heard about it because somebody was like, "Oh, Matt likes Dark Souls," and I saw this video.
Yeah,
So
So it's being made by Harebrained, the guys who made Shadowrun Returns and Dragonfall and the upcoming
Oh wow!
Shadowrun
Really?
Hong Kong. And like
they're doing another thing.
They're doing another thing. They actually have like a bunch of things to work on. They're actually a surprisingly big company apparently.
That's cool. That's kind of like Double Fine, right? They're like
a
couple different cool little games going on.
Yeah, and I love those Shadowrun games, so I'm willing to give anything they make a shot, just based on those. So this game it's this very simplistic, low poly art, where there's no painted textures on anything except for the character models. All of it's just like colored polygons.
And it looks
kind
fantastic.
of looks sort of like Grow Home, which we played.
Yeah. That's a good comparison, but like darker.
Yeah, and so it's all these like very moody like blues and dark reds. The game, it's just Dark Souls. Like
really? Is it 3D
like,
or is it 2D?
No, it's 3D. So the lady and I mean that in the best way. So I go over there and I heard of the game, but I hadn't seen anything about it. I knew nothing about what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I go over and I played the demo, and the lady says, "Have you played Dark Souls?" And I said, "Oh, I've played Dark Souls." She goes, "Awesome." I look at the controller.
Oh, I've played Dark Souls, and then you show her your nipple tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. Where I wrote Dark Souls.
Fire.
I have Praise the Sun on my stomach.
But then you have the bonfire up on your nipple, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's what John Luke told me the other day.
I mean, like straight up the like right bumper is light attack, heavy attack is like the trigger. You use B to dodge, you use X to like drink your potion.
It's Dark Souls.
This
Dark
game's
Souls.
art style is crazy from
It's
what I'm looking
awesome.
at the website.
It's so good.
It's really sick. So, John Luke, you played it, and what is your accomplishment that you
Well,
like to,
I was apparently
brag about?
the fifth person to beat it. So I played it first thing Saturday, and I beat it. I was like one of the first people to play, and I beat it. And then she's like, "Yeah, you are the fifth person overall to beat it, and the first person today. So only 4 people beat it on Friday.
Nice.
So that's my claim to fame. Is I'm probably like I bet you only like 15 or 20 people beat it total. So I'm one of those.
Sorry, I'm just looking at footage of the game.
But I mean, like if you played a Dark Souls game, you're gonna feel right at home with that game. Like you immediately like, okay, I know how to do this. I understand. Like kind of paying attention to the enemy's animation time and sort of your animation time. One really interesting thing it had was there are like a charge power attacks for your moves. So like you could do like a charge for the light attack, which is stronger than like the heavy attack, but there's also a charge heavy attack, and that one it's like a good 3 seconds of a charge up, which is like if you're not careful, that could really fuck you up. But you do this like crazy awesome animation where you like
The
animations
animations
air
are
and just,
so
like slam
cool.
into them. They only had 2 weapons. They start out with a little light weapon, and then you switch to a heavy greatsword, which is how I rocked it. You got a shield and everything. There are going to be multiple classes. They only had the one class and a couple different skins you could swap through. I don't know what they're doing in terms of armor. In the video I did with the guy where I talked to the art director, he said they are planning on doing more ranged stuff. They're going to have, like a variety of different weapons and sort of.
And I just wanted to mention that like we did that interview, and I was so excited to like look at this game and play this game, and I absolutely forgot to play the game because we were so busy.
I had no interest.
Twice.
I played it twice. So the first time I played it, in true Dark Souls fashion, I have never played Dark Souls. I died on the first batch of enemies. I was literally about 30 seconds in, and I had to give up the controller to the person behind me because I fucking died. 30 seconds in, I was like, I'm not satisfied at all. I had to wait in line again. And,
that game is pretty awesome. I can't wait for that game. I think you're gonna like that, Matt, a lot. Like that seems like that'd be the kind of game that's right up your alley. That's kind of you and me.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it, and I just looked at some footage. It looks really cool.
Yeah. I have no interest.
Does your avatar? Because I was like kind of watching it, and it looked like the same kind of. Is it like the same? Are you like the same person the whole time, or like does your stuff change?
Well, so there is. They have the death mechanic plays into the game where you're gonna die, and they said how like I guess the whole point is that there is this dude. He's like this triangle guy, kind of looks like Bill from Gravity Falls, and he wants all these adventurers to go through this dungeon, but he also kind of wants to kill them off for fun. So whenever you die, you come back, I guess as a new guy. I'm not 100% sure, because when you died in the demo, the demo was over, so I didn't get to really see what happened. But like they had this point where you wandered through this area, and he said like, oh, 352 guys, like died trying to get here, and that's like an actual number of like actual players, and so they said they weren't gonna have online, like direct online integration, but they are gonna have stuff like that. And they were talking about...
Is there character customization, I guess? Like, when you get a new piece of armor, like,
we didn't see that.
Pick up? They didn't show you anything.
They didn't show
very, very early pre-alpha
Okay, so
stuff.
it's super, yeah, and that's what I was kind of getting.
But they do seem to be wanting to do that stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff they want to add. The guy even talked about how, because I said, like, oh, is there going to be, like, co-op or something like that? And he said, not right now. But he kind of used Don't Starve Together as an example of, like, that's something they want to do, so maybe, like, they could add that in, like, post-launch later. I think that
they said that
cool.
the game's not done, so, everything's not there.
That game's not coming out for, like, at least a year, if that.
Yeah. Going back to what I was saying before we move on, I have no interest of playing Dark Souls really at all, but, like, the art style and it's kind of more inviting, I guess. I don't know. Like, it interested me enough to want to play the game in the future, whereas I have no interest of playing Dark Souls because I don't like to play games that I haven't played games before that have gotten so hyped that when I play them, they won't live up to the, like, kind of expectations I've put up in my head. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, sure.
Like that's why I probably won't play Half-Life.
That was like why I was like disappointed with Bastion. I feel like I wasn't super a big fan of it, but also it had been hyped to me for like a bajillion like months before I actually got to play it. And then I played it and I was like, well, also it wasn't my kind of game, and also everyone loves it this much. Like, you know what I mean? Like anything that's like, and then you play it, and then if it's not for you, you're like, oh, now I'm kind of really disappointed because I thought it was the best thing ever.
All right,
that's fair.
John,
going through some stuff that I played before we'll get to what Nate played after. I played this cool game with Josh Miller called Gunsport. I found it at like the last hour before I left.
Is it one of those deer shooting games?
No.
I know it. I kind of know it's. I don't know what it is, and I know it's not from that name.
It was in the Iron Galaxy. I don't know if it's being made by Iron Galaxy. I don't really know. I think maybe they were just like showing it there. It is a 2v2 sport game. It's basically volleyball, but like in the future.
With guns.
Yeah, you shoot the volleyball with guns.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and so
they can put that on the cover art. It's a volleyball with guns.
Well, it really is like the rules of volleyball.
With guns, it needs to be like that sick Dorito text.
So you have
that's
two people
like in Blaze.
So there's two people per team, and the first person in the front, they're standing up and they can move around, and they can shoot, and they have a one shot, but it's a charge attack, so they can like charge it up and go like pew and shoot it in, but they can only shoot once. The person behind them, they're crouched down and they can't move at all, but they get 2 attacks. They can shoot twice. And it resets every time the ball comes into your court. So you can, like, if you shoot it, the second the ball goes past the fence over to your end, you can shoot again. And so you're kind of, like, constantly... And then every time you hit the ball, it can go faster, and there's, like, physics to it. So there's kind of this back and forth of trying to, like, shoot the ball. It's really easy to pick up. Oh, and you move your gun using the triggers, which is weird. Like, right trigger moves it down, left trigger moves it up. It's really hard to get used to. But like you understand the concept really quickly, and it's really, really fun to play. Like that is a perfect kind of like couch game. Like let's sit down and play Gunsport. That game's awesome. We should definitely.
So is it like top down or like it's?
No, it's side. It's side angle. The art style reminded me of like 90s Capcom. Like
maybe they did the trigger thing because then that adds more skill or challenge to shooting it, right? Like that's
It does, and you definitely
yeah.
have to like time it where you can't kind of aim right at the ball. You sort of have to like anticipate where the ball's going to go and like shoot
And like
ahead of
aim. Right,
time.
right, right. Yeah.
So
So it adds more challenge to it. So it's
it
not. I
does.
was the way I was saying I was thinking of like almost like a twin stick thing, but it's not that. It sounds more interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
I
really
just watched
cool.
the trailer and it looks like Windjammers, kind of.
Like
kind of.
artistically?
I mean, like in a
Not
in a
artistically.
not no in a conceptual like conceptually, I think it looks a little bit like Windjammers.
It has a windjammersness in the way where like if you're both really good and you're constantly shooting at it, it's going back and forth and it's going faster and faster, and there's like that rhythm to it. I think this game looks really cool though. I can't wait to play more of it. I think that'll be a fun one for us to
It
play.
also reminds me a bit of Lethal League,
Yeah, it definitely has a little bit of Lethal League in there.
which I still want to play, but go on to your next thing. Sorry.
A quick one. I didn't get to play it, but I watched some of it. There's this game called Deadwood: The Forgotten Curse, which is being made by. God, I really hope this game turns out. So the dudes who are making it, two of these guys, they used to work at like Weta Workshop, and they just like quit. They worked on The Hobbit and all this stuff, and they just decided to like quit their jobs and like make this indie game. And I'm just like, oh God, I hope this works out for you guys. So the game is called Deadwood: The Forgotten Curse, and it's this little 3D kind of top-down game where you're playing as a sort of like a wooden puppet, and during the day you run around. You have this like little buddy with you, and you do quests. You get XP. You grind. You do dungeons. You get loot. All this stuff that feels very much like like an RPG like that, or like a Zelda in that aspect. You're kind of wandering around this giant map. But then at night, your buddy goes to sleep, and you can't let him die. And then all these zombies come out, and then it becomes almost like a base defensing game where you have to build fences in locked off areas. So maybe like you want to pick a good spot where you're like night's coming, so you're like, oh, let's find this like secluded area with like not that many paths, and I can like block them off and shoot the zombies. You have this like little gun. It is really satisfying when you get a headshot, like their heads just fly like 10 feet off, and it's super satisfying. So it's kind of this interesting blend where it's not just, you think of like a Minecraft where it's like, oh, during the day I do this, and then at night like the monsters come out. It's kind of like that, but it has way more actual like a quest structure to it, and there's like a town that you can go to, and there's all these NPCs, and there's a story. It looked really neat, and I'm really excited to see like what that game, how that game turns out, because that seemed really cool.
Yeah. So I guess I'll talk about kind of what I played going off while you guys were at some panels. I decided to wait in line to play Elite Dangerous on the Oculus Rift.
Oh, cool.
That sounded very.
Oh no, I am actually sorry.
Like,
I am actually interested in that.
Oh, I'm so
Fine.
interested.
I guess I'm done. Fuck. Jeez. Continue, Jean-Luc.
that was also
No,
something I wanted to play.
I am actually interested in it. I just didn't want to be like, oh, yeah, no.
So instead, you're like, Anyway, so yeah, I waited in line for
Did you
about
fly
an
in a
hour.
spaceship?
I did fly in a spaceship, so I actually got really lucky because they had about 8 computers running the game with flight stick controllers, but only 4 of them were Oculus Rift ones, so I was really lucky to actually be at a spot in line where a spot opened up that I could wear the Oculus and do the flight control, so it was like super immersive. And before this, besides I guess like Alien Isolation, I haven't really played a game on the Oculus. Like last PAX is when I first experienced the Oculus, where it was kind of just like kind of tech demos, but not really game, like a heavy game, if that makes sense. So this was kind of the first time that I got to like truly experience what the Oculus is capable of in an environment where you're kind of just like playing a game that you want to play. and it was fucking sweet. So along with the flight controls, which took some getting used to, I played kind of the training simulator that it just pits you against one enemy fighter. It was awesome using the Oculus to kind of look around the cockpit like you were there. Like the coolest part about the demo was when I was on the tail of this enemy guy, and he kind of used some evasive maneuvers to go up above me so he could, I guess, flank. But I actually, with the Oculus Rift, followed him through like the air, like keeping an eye on him so he couldn't get like behind me and the best of me, and like turned my ship around to like counter his move. And that can't be done with just regular, just like PC. Like, you can only experience that if you're in VR. And that's the first time it kind of clicked with me that this isn't just some gimmick, that it's an actual experience that adds to the just game itself. It lends itself so well to that kind of game, and I'm interested into where it'll turn out for more games that are either developed for it or work very well with it. So
I mean,
that was really cool.
For the longest time, I have been, my roommate has an Oculus Rift, and he has a dev kit too. And
Yeah.
I've looked at Elite Dangerous.
I did play on a dev kit too. The only place that had the Crescent Bay model was at the Oculus booth, which was over a 2-hour wait.
Yeah.
So
Well, it wasn't, and it wasn't a line either. It was.
I got to try the Crescent
was
Bay
like-
on my
it was
thing.
like-
It was great.
shut up.
It was like a 10-minute wait. It was so good. And I got
wasn't,
to talk to this
it-
super
there
cool
was-
guy.
It wasn't an actual line. It was like people lined up at the booth, and apparently, like the only way. Oh, hold on. You guys can move on.
I'll talk. I'll say what he's gonna say.
Awesome.
Whatever that was.
Yeah. Basically, what happened was you would line up, and the only people who actually got in were by appointment, which you could sign up for.
Via
And-
app.
Via app. There's like an app that you could
there's
sign up for an appointment.
Oculus
For.
Convention app.
So the people who waited in
Did
line.
you sign up?
No, and it was already full. The people who got in line were just the people who would go in if the appointment didn't show up.
Nice.
And a lot of the people actually didn't know that. So there were people who would like line up there just thinking like, I'm just in line for the Oculus, not realizing that they were just on like a waiting list.
That's pretty good.
Essentially.
Did you get? So you guys didn't get to do it then? You
No,
waited for a while
and
you said
I
fuck this.
Nope.
don't
I
really
don't
care.
blame anyone for not waiting on crazy lines like that because that's crazy. Like that's
I'll tell you about the one
Crazy lines are in fact crazy, Matt.
crazy. Yeah.
my rule of PAX is I will pick one line that I'll wait an exorbitant amount of time in.
And
And,
I guess
that
that's a really good
line-
segue to
To Overwatch, which is the big line we waited for, and probably the biggest thing at the show floor.
it was center stage. It was the middle of the convention center. They had the biggest presence. Talk about Overwatch, John Luke.
Yeah, and that's one that I was really excited to play, just because a lot of these games you look at them and I think like Splatoon was there, which has it had like a 3-hour wait as well, but that was like that game's coming out this summer, right? Like I can go play that really soon. Overwatch isn't actually coming out until the beta is coming out in October, and even that is just a closed beta, so who knows when the actual game's coming out. So for those who don't know what Overwatch is, it is a very TF2 inspired team-based shooter. There's 6 people per match. We didn't wait that long. We waited like 2 hours probably.
A little
Not
less,
even.
like hour 45.
Hour and a half.
Hour 45. It went by pretty quick. And we got sweet.
Whose birthday?
We got sweet pins.
Here,
for
I got
waiting
mine right
line.
here. Here it is.
And we had a team of 5
We
people,
didn't
right?
we didn't play it for the pins.
We didn't play.
I
for the
played
pins.
it for the
We had
pin, man.
four people with us, and so our goal was like,
Oh wait, Amelia, show it again.
we're gonna
Here.
win this shit.
All right, there you go, viewers. Sorry, I was clicked on someone else. That's cool.
It's a nice pen.
You got it. You got the pin. So we kind of went in like very determined to win. There's how many classes? There's a lot of classes.
There
Way more-
were 16 classes available
So like TF2 has only like what is it, 8 or 10 character classes? And
That's a Meals question.
Nine.
nine. There's nine. Okay,
There's
yes,
three.
there's nine, and they're all
There's
very
three
specific
defense,
archetypes. You know.
3 offense, 3 support.
Yeah, and it's very much like here's the medic, here's the sniper, here's this, here's that. And this game has that, but it definitely kind of has more of that. So there were like I think there were 2 different types of medic.
Well, it's like it's like here's the engineer who can build turrets, or here's the guy that can turn into a turret.
Yeah.
I've heard it compared to a first-person Smite.
I mean, I would definitely take the TF2 comparison more. I mean, it has a payload mode.
First-person Smite is just like also would just be like saying it's more like
I've heard it compared to
Monday Night Combat.
It takes a lot of things from multiple games, and it does the whole Blizzard thing where Blizzard doesn't invent something cool. It takes a lot of things and makes it super polished and super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for me, I think if you're like a person who, like I know somebody who doesn't care for TF2 at all, and they looked at this and they're like, oh, this is something I'm gonna like. I said, probably not. Like if you didn't like TF2, I don't like TF2.
Is it like just as
I like Overwatch.
You liked Overwatch? You don't like TF2?
That's right.
Is it a little bit slower? Because that was one of my problems with TF2. Is like it
no,
kind of felt like
it's pretty fast paced.
Yeah.
Yeah. The speed is very comparable to TF2.
I don't know. Like I guess I don't know if it was a problem with speed, but whenever I felt like played TF2, I feel like I wasn't in as much control as I'd like to be.
TF2 is definitely more condensed though, or I'm sorry, Overwatch is more condensed. TF2 you'd have those matches that kind of just go for a bit, you know.
Yeah.
And sort of they become very chaotic and just like you
yeah,
just kind of run out
like
for
there
like
was just a fire, and I'm just like trying to pee.
yeah,
in the
you
corner
run
of
into
the
a
fire.
room, you fire like 3 shots, and then you die, and then you respawn. This is much more like the match we played of Payload. It's like this match is gonna go for like 6 minutes. It's much more like condensed out. It's only 6 people per team, so you really have to work together. Like it's it's less chaotic. Yeah, we totally wrecked them. Felt awesome about that.
I was talking all the time. There was real good communication.
It definitely
it's chaotic, but it's not chaotic in the way that TF2 is, where like there's way too many people on your team and you're like there's no organization.
If you're not playing as a team, you're not going to do well. You want to pick classes that complement each other, the map you're playing on, the kind of what kind of round you're in, whether you're playing defense or offense. There's a lot of things to go on, and that really you should choose your hero with what you're good at and what everybody else is playing as. And like each hero, like just for Matt and for the viewers that don't know, they have their gun that they can shoot, obviously, and their movement, but they also have powers that are mapped to E and Shift, like
and Q. The Q is the
Q,
super,
which is their Ultra or Super or Ultimate, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever it's called.
And it rubbed me the right way.
That sounds sexual and weird.
Yeah. And you can switch classes at any point in the match. It's not like a Dota, where you pick it and you stick with it. Like it does have more of a kind of like play fast and loose with your strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, right after we played a match, the first thing we all said to each other is like, "Damn, we want to play that again."
Yeah. We actually contemplated going on the line again, but
I definitely thought about it.
How long was the line? Was it
was like 2 hours. I mean,
Jesus!
That's not as crazy as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be way longer, and thankfully for them, they had four bays going of games at once, and it's 6 people per team, so that's a fair amount of people. Like they're constantly getting people in, so the line was moving at a decent pace. It didn't feel like
they constantly have 48 people playing.
Yeah.
And the cool thing that they did right about this whole just the booth experience is that they also had at the 4 corners of the actual booth, because it was a square, they had monitors displaying what each class was, what they did, gameplay of all of the people that were playing. So you're not just waiting; you're being entertained as well.
And all that really did for us was like we would look at that and we'd be like, oh man, I
wanna
was
play
gonna
that.
play this guy, but now I want to play this guy.
Yeah.
I ended up playing about 4 heroes. I played Farah, who is most closely
Soldier.
identified as the soldier. I played McCree, who is just a sharpshooter kind of guy with a
Kind of a mid to close range kind
yeah.
of high
I
impact player.
I played the engineer, who is Tornbjorn, and I played Bastion, who is the guy that turns into a turret. But I played him for like 2 seconds because I didn't really have enough people helping me out as him, so I went to Tornbjorn instead.
I played McCree as offense and Widowmaker, who is the sniper. The Widowmaker, like one of the coolest like weapon designs I've ever seen, as well as just design in general. Like regularly, her gun is an SMG that you press left click to shoot, but it turns into a sniper by pressing and holding right click and shoot the sniper by pressing and holding right click and left click, and it powers up. So like I don't know, it was super cool. So I played that on defense and wrecked shop. Who'd you play, Jean-Luc?
I played Tracer a bit, who's like the very fast-moving kind of a scout character. She has like a lot of warping, and she has like this crazy time ability where she just rewinds time to the last, I think, like 3 or 4 seconds of where she was and gets all of her ammo back too, which is pretty ridiculous. But it's awesome. So you have like this one power bomb, which is her super, and you just put it on somebody and it'll explode. So what you could do is you just throw it on somebody and then you hit the rewind and you rewind yourself back and they just. I tried her for a little bit, but then I very quickly switched to Mercy, who is the medic, and played her the entire time, because that's usually what I do. Is I'll end up kind of defaulting into medic support class because no one else wants to do it. And she straight up has like a medic gun, like in TF2.
We also had a developer playing on our team.
A QA tester, I think.
Whatever. He was playing as medic as well, and he wasn't talking to us, but he was doing really well.
Yeah, he played medic the first round, not the second round.
Yeah, Jean-Luc was doing a really good job as a medic.
If you play TF2, the medic has his medic gun, but there's also an alternate gun you can get for the medic that is just like a damage booster. So Mercy has both on the same gun, where left trigger heals, but then right trigger boosts up. So you're constantly kind of switching back and forth between the two to like constantly be powering people. She had a pistol for defense, but I found it pretty useless. Like my goal was just get behind people constantly, healing and
you had a
boosting
super,
them.
which was you got a triple revive.
Yeah,
with.
my super revives people in this like area, and at one point this guy like murdered 3 of us in like with it was a Reaper. He used his Reaper ability and murdered 3 people, and then I just revived everybody, which was really awesome. I don't know. I found the game was really fun.
And that was at least my favorite thing to play on the show floor.
Yeah,
it was worth the wait, in my opinion.
Totally. Is there anything else you guys played of a particular note that you want to talk about?
God, I want to talk about Overwatch more, but Niels.
I played Forced 2: The Rush, which is an isometric dungeon crawler with Hearthstone elements. The game has you build decks around your character, and after certain amounts of time, you draw cards, and you can choose to play them or not to upgrade yourself while you're fighting these guys. It's kind of a fantasy-style game, and it was super fun. We actually got an interview with one of the guys, but
which you can watch now if you go to our video.
And that was a fantastic game. They actually had a buy-in for their beta, which for their early access, which I know Nate doesn't like, but it was $1 for 2 keys, which was whatever. I didn't do it, but that's because I can wait until the game's out. I want to wait until all the characters are there and everything like that. But it was very fun. Other than that, what else? There was a lot I wanted to play. I really wanted to play Mini Metro, 12 minutes, and Matt had told us to play Jotum or whatever.
I think it's
we
Jotun.
couldn't find it.
Jotun, I think is how it's pronounced.
Jotun, whatever.
I found
whatever
it.
it
I
is.
finally found that booth, but it was like the last 30 minutes of the show floor being open, and the line was like, I wasn't gonna be able to play it.
Oh, you said so it is Jotun, whatever it
I
is.
think it's pronounced Jotun. That's what
J-
somebody told me.
Jotun.
Somebody told me it was
is.
pronounced Jotun, so I'm like, all right. I didn't get to play
I
any of
also-
them, but oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I saw a bunch of stuff at the Devolver booth. I didn't get to play any of it, but that stuff looked
I was
really
looking
cool.
at the Devolver booth. I was like, all of these games, or like two of the games looked like what's that game where Gunpoint. And I was like
Yeah,
two of these games are different games, but they both look like Gunpoint.
yeah,
They look like they were made in Game Maker
I think
guess
they
so,
were.
because they were.
Yeah.
They look
Adult
cool.
Swim, Adult Swim Games was there too, and they had a lot to show, which I'm actually really excited for because they put out some fun mobile stuff.
So real quick, I wanted to just touch on like a panel that I went to that you guys didn't go to that was super cool, which you guys could have, but you guys were waiting in the Giant Bomb panel line. It was called Game Review Over with Alexa Ray Correa, Susan Arendt,
Susan
Marty
Arendt.
Silva, Greg from Kinda Funny, and Jeff Gersman. And it was them talking about how game reviews are basically just they're bullshit basically, and they need to change and like evolve with the times in which game reviews itself are changing as well. It was just super cool to hear all of their opinions on how game reviews, how they view game reviews and how they should change, what they're doing right and wrong, like the score system that nobody agreed on, games that they each reviewed but reviewed differently and argued about in the panel. It was super cool. So that was
Well, and I remember that you walked up to we were talking to Jeff Gersman after the Giant Bomb panel,
Yeah.
and you had said, what are your opinions on dropping scores altogether and going on kind of a Kotaku scale of like, should you buy it, should you not buy it,
or should you wait?
or should you wait? And he said that that's something they definitely thought about in the past. And you don't listen to the podcast, so you didn't get this content, but he had actually said that in the podcast that the 5-star system is like what they've been able to like stand behind for a long time, but that they do think that there are not better ways, but like it's just like all of the different scales are for different people kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've largely been with them. I've always thought the 5-star system has been like the best one I can think
It's
of.
just like it's like once you start getting into like double digits or something like that, like into decimal places, it just starts getting like really like it gets frustrating and like it's hard to track. I just think it's really easy to be like, okay, this game got a 3 out of 5 or whatever. But
What's that
they
mean though?
They said that
Yeah.
the difficulty is with that is like there's such a giant leap between a 3 and a 4. Like like they have to put way more thought into, is this game a 3 or is this game a 4? Like where is this game at? You know.
So hopefully it was recorded because you guys should definitely take a look at that. It was also just fun because they just shit on Metacritic half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you do, you should also take the opportunity to go look at the Paxomania panel,
Oh, yeah, I
which
watched
is
that.
recorded. You can go watch that. I was there for that, and those are very quickly becoming my favorite thing about PAX.
Did you get good seats for that, Jean-Luc?
I got okay seats, so I was pretty good in that I was right next to the door where they entered from, so I got to see all their
Nice.
entrances, which is pretty nice. However, one of the cameras was actually like in front of me, so it was a bit hard to see.
It's like if you got like a pillar in front of you at a basketball game or
Yeah,
something.
not quite that bad, but like bad enough that you're just like, ugh. So I actually rewatched some of the recorded version so I could see some of those angles that I missed,
I
which were
usually do
pretty
that. I
great.
usually do that with like any panel I go to, just because like I like to relive some of the moments that I forgot. Like that, I'm like, oh right, I thought that was really funny. Like like I'm just like going through and watching the Giant Bomb panel again and listening to all that
Yeah,
Tim Allen.
I'm definitely gonna do that with the Giant Bomb panel for the Tim Allen and the Dan Reichert money booth.
Right, yeah, like that stuff was really good, and
There were a lot of cool panels.
Yeah, but we had a really good time. The video production panel for anyone out there who's like really interested in like video production, any of that stuff. It was very informational.
Did they record that one? I don't know if they did.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, they did, because I remember in the beginning they turned to one of the guys and they're like, all right, like are we getting a recording on this right here and stuff like that. Because they're like, we're all the tech guys, so like we just got a couple people here to like help with us.
Yeah, so find that if you can. I mean, the previous year I went to another video production panel with Vinny. Anytime Vinny's on a panel about video production, check it out, because it's always
this year was a bit different, because like last year it was like Vinny talking about or like getting excited for New York, and this year it's like Vinny like, well, fuck, New York is shitty right now.
It's so happening. Yeah, it's all on fire.
Yeah, I think that panel was called like Making Video Sausage or something like that.
Making Video Sausage. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna incorporate a lot of the stuff they talked about when we do our live show. We're gonna record that tonight. Specifically when I think it was Mary was talking about how when people do mic checks, they never actually
Oh my god, and every time they brought that up, I looked over at you and I was just like, every fucking time.
Yeah,
like,
no, totally.
Every time I'll be like, oh, Matt, can I get a mic check? And he'll be like, hi, this is Matthew Klink. And then like we'll start and he'll be like, welcome to the home button, penises, butts, penises. Like it'll be like twice as loud.
No, it's funny, like even before that panel, like I remember like the last home button show we recorded, I remember like thinking to myself like, okay, next time we do one of these, I need to like talk with everyone and be like, hey guys, when I do the mic check, like really think about what your voice is actually going to be like, because it never is right. And
that is such a hard thing to do, though.
It really is, though. Like I totally get it.
Like actually, I guess exuberant.
Yeah, no, it is, and I do understand that, but I just need to like try and stress that more. Of like, hey guys.
Yeah. So PAX was super fun. Matt.
He's not even there.
Matt is sleeping.
I think stuff's happening. We'll try and... Do we have anything else we want to talk about before Matt tries to come close it? If he doesn't come in the next couple minutes, I can close it.
The only other panel I went to was the Mega 64 panel, and that was a blast. But that's a pretty like niche...
Oh, I went to the Kind of Funny panel on Sunday. You guys weren't there. That's up and recorded. You can watch that if you want. I mean, it was just them talking about stuff.
Whatever you're interested in, like all that stuff is free. I'm pretty sure they record most of the panels now, just because PAX is harder to get to every year, and even more so this year because of the weather and all that. But I think that's it for me with PAX. I had a great time. We had a great time. Oh, the last thing is we had there was a special game that all of us played that I think that we should keep as a surprise until...
Yeah, that should be coming up on Friday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Definitely keep an eye on that.
All the information you're
available.
All the information you're gonna need about it is gonna be in the video. So.
I want to give a shout out. So one of the things about PAX panels that's always terrible is the Q&A, because they suck. There's always like that awkward question.
Oh, I was gonna ask you about the reviews one. If there were any, how ethical?
There was no.
Somebody tried
making about ethics.
Somebody tried making an ethics joke at the Giant Bomb panel, and it totally fell flat.
Somebody also tried asking a question before me, and it totally turned into the most uncomfortable.
Classic Emilio.
It's like
I was listening to the Giant Bomb. The Giant Bombcast this week, they apparently were talking about how they totally could not hear anything at that panel. Like, they couldn't even hear each other talking on the other side of the table. Like, the audio. Yeah, so, like, when they were like, we can't hear what you're saying, they were being serious. They weren't trying to play it up. They were like, we literally have no idea what you're saying.
What's happening is there's the speakers all the way in the front and then in the middle of the theater. The speakers in the front are reverberating off the back of the room, but after the speakers in the middle are reverberating in the back of the room, creating two delays in the room.
Yeah, crazy amount of delay and echo. It was really bad.
It was terrible.
That awkward Q&A.
Yeah, but kind of funny. They had their Q&A I didn't think there was a single awkward question.
I
So
had a pretty strong
I think
Q&A.
by default,
What was the really awkward? The really awkward is just a flat joke?
Guess which our panel had the most awkward questions that me and John-Luc went to. Which community do you think?
It wasn't the review one?
no.
I don't know if he even knows that you went to it.
Yeah, I know you went to Giant Bomb and the review one.
It was the Rooster Teeth one.
It was actually okay, and then it was like lightning round time. Everybody just gave like a quick sentence question, and then just all of the questions became terrible and like.
It's like oh, can I how do I get a job with Rooster Teeth?
Not
It
that
was
bad.
worse. It was worse.
And I don't want to make fun of people.
Can we hang out with you and be your best friends?
No, it was. It's online. If you want.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. Oh.
It just makes me so sad. It hurts.
How does Rooster
I was
Teeth
there,
feel
and it
about?
I think Rooster Teeth just is going to get that by the fact that they have the largest audience. Like I said, kind of
the largest audience and like a very like demographically young audience.
I mean, we talk about immediately how I like Rooster Teeth's content, but I do not like 80% of their audience. Kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
But on that note, I think that's all I had.
But
That's
yeah,
PAX.
on a whole, PAX was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And
It gets
I
better
was
each year for me.
exhausted, and I would do it again tomorrow.
I would. I absolutely love PAX. I can't suggest it anymore. Highly. I would like to go to Prime.
I would too. That'd be fun.
I feel
But
like Prime is kind of a different beast.
yeah. But I'm already trying to go to TI5 this year, so maybe I'll keep it to.
I would like to do that, but probably
So
won't.
before we start talking about Dota, Matt, do you want to take us out, bring us home?
All right.
But wait! Oh wait! I had one more thing I wanted to say about PAX.
Okay.
What? You hated it, and you hate everybody.
You got pins. We
I
all
got
got
sweet
pins.
pins.
Here, let me click on Emilio so you can see his pins.
Okay, hold on, wait. I'll go through these really quick.
In glorious 240p.
There's Pudge and Puzzle and Dragons.
Just like scroll them up and don't talk. Just look at them. Great. Keep going. They're pins. They're beautiful.
And we're done.
Okay.
Don't got that
done
LE
with
pin
this.
though. That sweet poly pin.
Oh, shut up. I'm gonna end
Oh,
up.
I didn't.
Hey,
I'm
Jean-Luc.
sorry.
Hey,
I
Jean-Luc.
forgot.
Virtual high five. Boom.
Yeah.
You guys are nerds. All right, that's all I've got for the home button.
Oh boy. Oh, I didn't. I didn't talk about the Firewatch thing. There was a Firewatch demo at GDC. It was the last day. It was Friday. It wasn't at the convention center. It was like at this place, like 15-minute walk away.
Was
But,
it like the
they set up-
Firewatch base?
Yeah. It was like they set up the whole building to be like in the theme of it, and like there
That
were
sounds like
trees.
a Firewatch base.
Yeah, you should. If you just Google like Firewatch Demo Day GDC 2015, you'll see pictures of like, and I took some pictures too that maybe I'll send to Nate and he'll put up here. But they set up like the cabin, and they set up these trees, and like you played the game and you sat on a log, and like it was great.
That sounds
It was very cool, and the people were super chill to talk. Like the developers were all
Nothing
really cool.
playable, right?
No, yeah, we played the 17-minute whatever it
Oh,
was.
so
the
you
17
literally did everything you saw.
Yeah. It was like super, like, I don't know, it was really cool to, like...
Like, it would have been, yeah, that would have been cool for me, like, having not seen that demo yet. But, like,
Yeah, I hadn't seen the demo.
I feel like
so-
I know what it's going to play like, and...
Yeah, it was cool.
But you could take
like-
different narrative choices.
Yeah, like, those were...
Which was cool.
You know what's funny is, so I did, this was really funny, there's the part where you go up to, where you go to the lake, and there's the boombox, and there's,
And the
like,
naked
people...
ladies.
And the naked people at the lake with like wands, like the glow sticks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there's the boombox, and like so you can just like take the boombox or like keep it or whatever. But like everyone I talked to, I was like, "What'd you guys do with the boombox?" And everyone was like, "I threw it in the water."
You should take it with you all the way through to the
Yeah, that's what I would do.
keep the boombox, have the music playing forever.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
single one of us was like, "Yeah, I just threw it in the lake. Why not?" And I was like, "Oh man, I wonder what would happen if you didn't throw it in the lake."
And we will get that choice when we play.
Yeah, did that
Whenever
happen in the video? Did that happen?
Yeah.
Or was that,
Yeah.
Okay.
He threw it in the stream.
God damn it! Everyone
Nope.
and like all the people I went with like 6 people, and so you played it in twos. None of us watched the video. We all played the demo, and every single one of us started annoyed.
That says something about the design.
It does, yeah. The
Yeah.
narrative.
But yeah,
So yeah, that's our. I guess we'll wrap this up. That's our GDC PAX episode
Post-convention.
thing. The post-convention con. That's what we're gonna call that.
If you're watching this
podcast.
now, check out our interviews. And
We'll have them linked at the end via annotation.
our
Yeah,
super
we'll have-
special video that's coming out later this week.
Yep. Coming out on
yes.
Friday. Check that out. And then
Featuring
also,
some guests too. So
if you're watching this, that means a new episode of The Home Button should be out around the same time. So hey, give that a watch. We have a
Yes.
guest on this week.
We have a guest on, and we're gonna be playing
a former IGN employee.
His former
Wow.
IGN employee,
former IGN.
IGN intern.
Well, they don't technically have an internship program, so he was an employee.
Oh, that's
I
true.
didn't know that. So yeah, we're gonna check all those things out, please, and thank
Tell the
you.
people where to find us.
Please, yes. So I'll tell you guys, and you guys tell your friends. Like, if you enjoy watching our stupid group of friends talk about video games and
Even
things.
if you don't have any friends, just go
Even
walk
if you
up.
don't have any friends, maybe just post on your Facebook, and those people who aren't your friends will watch. You can follow us. That's what Facebook is like. You have 10 real friends, and then 500 people you've met. You've breathed the same common air. Anyway, so follow us on Twitter at HomeButtonCast. Our Twitch is also at HomeButtonCast, and our Facebook and YouTube are the HomeButton Official. Follow us at those places. You can follow me at Matt_Clank. You can follow Nate and Nate Lubetsky. Follow Jean-Luc if you want. He's kind of like a turd at Jean-Luc Seipke. He's all right. And you can follow Emilio at Emilio Fornatora. I don't know whose last name is harder for people to spell first off the bat. If it's all right, it could be all 3 of you. If it's Lubetsky,
It's Jean-Luc's.
Seipke.
It's probably
Do you think
not.
it's Jean-Luc?
I'm gonna say no.
I've never had
Seipke.
more. Everyone who tries to pronounce my name the first time says Fontana, or like.
Every time when I
Fornace.
first saw it, I thought it was Fortunata the first time I saw it. So
Fortunato.
I think I said
don't know
fettuccine the first time, but I'm just
Emilio Fettuccini,
just
the third.
keep the the stereotypical Italian words coming.
It'll work out.
All right, everybody.
So follow us at those respective places. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be next week talking about something. We haven't thought that far ahead.
No.
We never do, though. That's never a thing that we think about.
Cut the music.
Everyone wave.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
No one can see it.
I hate all of you.